The fluorescent lights of Anderson's pharmacy buzz like trapped insects at 11:43 on a Friday night. Rain hammers against the windows, turning the glass into rivers of distorted light. Inside, Natalie Brooks stands at the counter, her worn wallet open, counting out crumpled bills for the third time. "That's $27.63, she says, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "I need $32 more for the prescription," the pharmacist, a middle-aged woman named Carol, whose name tag is slightly crooked, looks at her with sympathy that makes Natalie want to scream. She doesn't need sympathy. She needs medicine. "I'm sorry, honey," Carol says gently. "We can't release the medication without full payment. Maybe you can come back tomorrow? Or see if your insurance—" "I don't have insurance," Natalie interrupts, then forces herself to take a breath. Getting angry won't help Maya. Nothing helps Maya except the medication sitting in that white paper bag just 2 feet away. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. And tomorrow might be too late. She can feel the other customers watching. A young couple near the greeting cards. An elderly man browsing the vitamin aisle. All of them probably wondering what kind of mother can't afford $32 to save her child. The kind who's already spent every penny on hospital bills, Natalie thinks. The kind who chose between electricity and groceries this month and chose groceries because a 7-year-old needs to eat. The kind who works double shifts at 2 different diners and still comes up short because medical debt has teeth that never stop biting. "Please," Natalie says, and she hates the crack in her voice. "My daughter has a severe infection," the doctor said. "Without antibiotics, it could spread to her bloodstream. She's already running a fever of 103. I have a babysitter with her now, but I promised I'd be back with medicine an hour ago." Carol's expression softens even more, which somehow makes it worse. "Let me see if I can talk to the manager. Maybe we can work out a payment plan." "How long will that take?" "Well, he's not here tonight, so you'd need to come back tomorrow morning and—" "I can't wait until tomorrow morning." Natalie's vision blurs. She presses her palms against the counter, forcing herself to stay upright. She hasn't eaten since breakfast, hasn't slept more than 4 hours in 3 days. Maya's been sick for a week, getting worse each day, and the emergency room doctor had written the prescription with a look that said, "This is serious." "Ma'am, I understand, but there's nothing I can do without authorization. What if I leave something as collateral?" Natalie pulls off her watch. It's cheap, already missing half the paint on the band, but it's all she has. "Or my phone. It's not new, but it works. You can hold it until I get the money." Carol looks pained. "We don't do collateral. I'm truly sorry." The young couple has moved closer, pretending to examine thermometers while clearly listening. The man whispers something to his girlfriend. She nods, reaches into her purse. "Excuse me," the girlfriend says, approaching the counter. She's maybe 25, wearing yoga pants and a Northwestern hoodie. "I couldn't help overhearing. How much do you need?" Natalie's throat tightens. $32, but I can't. Here. The woman pulls out 2 20s. "Please, take it." "No." The word comes out sharper than Natalie intends. She softens her tone. "That's incredibly kind, but I can't accept that. Your daughter needs medicine, and I'll get it for her." Natalie straightens her spine. "I just need to figure out how." The boyfriend joins them, also pulling out his wallet. "Look, we're happy to help. It's no big deal." But it is a big deal. It's charity, and Natalie has spent 7 years building a life where she doesn't need anyone's charity, where she can take care of Maya on her own, even when Maya's father decided fatherhood wasn't for him and disappeared before their daughter's first birthday, even when her own parents cut her off for keeping a baby she couldn't afford, even when the world kept pushing her down and she kept getting back up. "I appreciate the offer," Natalie says firmly, "but we'll be fine." The woman exchanges a glance with her boyfriend. They retreat back to the greeting cards, whispering. Natalie can feel their confusion, maybe even their judgment. Why would she refuse help when her daughter needs medicine? Because accepting it means admitting defeat, means admitting she's failed. "Ma'am," Carol says quietly, "I really do need to help other customers. If you can come back tomorrow, I'll find the money tonight." Natalie scoops her crumpled bills back into her wallet. "Can you hold the prescription for me? Just for a few hours?" "Of course. We're open until midnight. 67 minutes. Natalie nods and turns toward the door, her mind already racing through impossible options. From the back of the pharmacy, near the prescription pickup window, a man has been watching this entire exchange. He's tall, well-dressed in a dark suit despite the late hour, with the kind of presence that makes people instinctively step aside. His hair is black with silver at the temples, and his eyes are dark, calculating, missing nothing. Dominic Santoro has come to this pharmacy for insomnia medication. A prescription he doesn't really need, prescribed by a doctor on his payroll, because he can't tell anyone that the head of the Santoro crime family hasn't slept through the night in 5 years. That guilt and violence and the weight of running an empire built on blood keeps him awake, staring at ceilings, counting sins instead of sheep. He should have sent Marco or Thomas. Should have stayed in his office in Little Italy, reviewing territory reports and planning the response to the Moretti family's latest incursion into Santoro waste. Management contracts. But he needed to get out, to move, to do something that felt normal for just 20 minutes. And then he heard a woman's voice crack as she begged for medicine for her daughter. Dominic has done terrible things. He's ordered deaths, sanctioned violence, built his power on fear and respect, earned through brutality. He took over the Santoro family at 26 when his father was killed in a territory dispute, and he's spent 12 years since then consolidating power, eliminating rivals, expanding operations. He's a man people fear, a man who makes problems disappear. But hearing that woman's voice, hearing her refuse charity even when her daughter needed medicine, something shifted in his chest. Something he thought had died years ago. He watches her walk toward the door, shoulders straight despite obvious exhaustion, pride intact even in defeat. She's young, maybe late 20s, with dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail and clothes that have been washed too many times. There's a stain on her jacket sleeve. Her shoes are worn at the heels, but she holds herself like a queen, dignity unbroken by circumstance. Dominic makes a decision. He approaches the counter, pulling out his wallet. The pharmacist looks up, recognition flickering in her eyes. Everyone in this neighborhood knows who Dominic Santoro is. The Santoros have controlled the near north side for 3 generations. Carol's cousin probably works in one of their restaurants. Her nephew might be employed by Santoro Construction. The family is woven into the fabric of this community, both feared and respected. The woman who just left, Dominic says quietly. The prescription she couldn't afford. I'm paying for it. Carol's eyes widen. Mr. Santoro, that's very generous, but she was quite clear about not accepting help. She doesn't need to know it's help. Tell her the insurance company made an error, covered it after all. Tell her whatever you need to tell her. But she leaves here tonight with that medicine. He pulls out $300 bills. More than enough. And Carol? This conversation never happened. Of course, Mr. Santoro. Carol takes the money with trembling hands. Should I give her your name? No. She doesn't need to know who paid. She just needs to know her daughter will be okay. Dominic turns to leave, then pauses. What's her name? Natalie Brooks. And her daughter is Maya. 7 years old. Natalie Brooks. The name settles into his mind like it belongs there. Dominic walks out into the rain where Marco is waiting by the black SUV, scanning the parking lot with the perpetual vigilance of a man who's seen too many ambushes. Boss, Marco acknowledges. Get what you needed? Yeah. Dominic climbs into the back seat. Let's go home. But as they drive through rain-slicked streets toward his brownstone in Old Town, Dominic can't stop thinking about dark eyes filled with exhausted determination, about a woman who loved her daughter more than her pride, about the way her voice cracked when she said please but never broke. He tells himself it was just an impulse, a random act of kindness that means nothing, that he'll forget about Natalie Brooks by morning. He's lying to himself, and he knows it. Inside the pharmacy, Natalie sits in her car for 10 seconds of a loud breakdown. Then she dries her eyes, starts the engine, and begins calling every person she knows who might be able to loan her $32. She's on her 5th call when her phone buzzes with an unknown number. She answers, expecting a debt collector. Hello? Miss Brooks? This is Anderson's pharmacy. I'm calling about your daughter's prescription. Natalie's heart stops. Did something happen to it? Actually, there was an error with the insurance processing. It turns out the medication is covered after all. You can come pick it up whenever you're ready. No charge. What? But I don't have insurance. There must have been a mix-up with the system. but the prescription is fully covered. I've got it ready for you at the counter. Natalie wants to question it, to understand how this is possible. But Maya needs medicine, and miracles don't require explanation. I'll be there in 5 minutes. She's there in 3. Carol hands over the white paper bag with a smile that seems to know more than she's saying. Here you go. I hope Maya feels better soon. Thank you, Natalie whispers, clutching the bag like it's made of gold. Thank you so much. As she drives home to her tiny apartment in Uptown, medication secured, Natalie wonders about the error that saved her tonight. Insurance companies don't make errors in her favor. Systems don't suddenly decide to cover things they previously denied. Someone helped her. Someone paid. But who? And why? She'll never know that in a brownstone on the Gold Coast, Dominic Santoro is staring out his window at the Chicago skyline, thinking about a woman he's never spoken to but can't stop seeing. A woman who's already changing him in ways he doesn't yet understand. 3 days later, Maya's fever breaks. The antibiotics work, and color returns to her daughter's face. Natalie finally sleeps for more than 4 hours, collapsing into exhausted relief on her worn couch, while Maya watches cartoons, healthy and happy again. She tries to forget about the pharmacy, about the mysterious insurance coverage that made no sense. She has enough to worry about without adding unsolvable mysteries to the list. But the universe isn't done with Natalie Brooks yet. A week after the pharmacy incident, Natalie is working the breakfast shift at Rosie's Diner on Clark Street when 3 men in expensive suits walk in. They don't belong here. This is a working-class neighborhood, the kind where suits mean either court dates or funerals, not casual Tuesday morning breakfast. The men take a booth in Natalie's section. She grabs menus and approaches, professional smile fixed in place. Good morning. What can I get you? One of the men, built like a tank with a scar across his knuckles, looks up at her. His eyes narrow slightly. You're Natalie Brooks. It's not a question. Every instinct Natalie has learned from 7 years of survival kicks in. I'm sorry. Do I know you? No, but we know you. The man gestures to the seat across from him. Sit down. Mr. Santoro wants to speak with you. Santoro. The name sends ice through her veins. Everyone in Chicago knows the Santoro family. Old Italian money with roots that go back to Prohibition. They control the North Side, run legitimate businesses that everyone knows are fronts for less legal operations. They're the family you don't cross, don't question, don't even look at too directly if you're smart. I don't know anyone named Santoro, Natalie says carefully. You do now. Sit down. Her manager, Rosie, appears at her elbow, face pale. Natalie, take your break. I'll cover your tables. The fact that Rosie, who's never given Natalie a break in 3 years of working here, is suddenly insisting she take one, tells Natalie exactly how serious this is. She sits. The scarred man pulls out a phone, dials, and hands it to her. He wants to talk to you. Natalie takes the phone with shaking hands. Hello? Miss Brooks. The voice is low, controlled, with an Italian accent that makes her name sound like music. Don't be afraid. I'm not here to threaten you. I want to offer you something. Who are you? Dominic Santoro. I own the building your diner operates in, along with most of the commercial real estate on this block. He pauses. I also paid for your daughter's medication last week. At Anderson's pharmacy. Natalie's breath catches. That was you? Yes. I overheard your conversation with the pharmacist. I saw you refuse help from strangers. Saw you prepare to fight for your daughter alone. I admired that. So I made sure you got what you needed. Why? Because I could. Because your daughter shouldn't suffer because the system is broken. Because, he trails off. Because you reminded me that there are still people in this world who fight with dignity. What do you want from me? I want to offer you a job. Natalie's laugh is sharp, disbelieving. A job? Yes. I need someone who can manage household staff for one of my properties. Someone organized, responsible, someone who understands how to prioritize and handle pressure. You've been working 2 jobs while raising a daughter alone. You've kept your life together despite circumstances that would have broken most people. That's exactly the kind of person I need. You want to hire me to manage your household staff? That's what this is about? I'm offering you $60,000 a year, health insurance for you and Maya, dental, vision, a company car. And housing. There's a guest house on the property that would be yours and Maya's. Private, secure, fully furnished. $60,000 a year. Natalie makes $22,000 working 2 jobs. Health insurance alone would save her hundreds a month. Housing would eliminate her biggest expense. There has to be a catch, she says. The catch is that you'd be working for me. For the Santoro family. I won't lie to you about what that means. My family's business isn't all restaurants and real estate. We operate in gray areas. We have enemies. We have obligations that aren't always legal. If you work for me, you're associated with that world. People will treat you differently. Some will fear you. Some will try to use you to get to me. So why would I say yes? Because your daughter deserves better than a mother working herself to death for scraps. Because you deserve a life where you're not one emergency away from losing everything. Because I'm offering you security and safety and a chance to breathe. His voice drops lower. And because I keep my people safe. If you work for me, you're under Santoro protection. Nothing touches you without going through me first. Natalie should say no, should hang up, walk away, forget this conversation ever happened. But she thinks about Maya, about the medication she couldn't afford, about the future stretching ahead of her filled with endless shifts and mounting debt and the constant fear of one more thing going wrong. Can I think about it? You have 48 hours. Marco will give you his number. When you've decided, call him. Dominic pauses. I hope you say yes, Miss Brooks. I think you'd be good for my family. And I know my family would be good for you. The line goes dead. Marco takes his phone back and slides a business card across the table. It's black with silver lettering. Just a name, Marco Rossi, and a phone number. 48 hours, Marco says. Boss doesn't make offers like this often. I'd take it seriously if I were you. They leave without ordering food. Natalie sits in the booth, staring at the business card, feeling like her life just tilted on its axis. That night, after putting Maya to bed, Natalie does what she always does when facing impossible decisions. She makes lists. Reasons to say no. Working for the Mafia, putting Maya in danger. Association with criminals. Risk to her future. Moral complications. Reasons to say yes. $60,000, year nearly triple current income, health insurance for Maya, safe housing, security, a chance at a real life. She stares at the lists for hours. Then she looks around her apartment. The ceiling that leaks when it rains. The radiator that only works half the time. The door that doesn't lock properly. The neighborhood where she hears sirens every night and keeps Maya inside after dark. She thinks about the pharmacy, about standing there desperate and alone, unable to afford $32. About the stranger who paid because he could, because he wanted to help. At 3 a.m, Natalie makes her decision. She calls the number. Marco answers on the first ring. Miss Brooks, I'll take the job, but I have conditions. I'm listening. Maya comes first, always. If there's ever a situation where working for your family puts her at risk, I walk away, and you let me go without consequences. And I want everything in writing. The salary, the benefits, the housing, legal contracts that protect both of us. Anything else? I want to meet Dominic Santoro in person before I start. I want to know who I'm working for. Marco is quiet for a moment. I'll arrange it. Tomorrow night. Boss will send a car for you at 7. Where are we going? Santoro family estate, Old Town. You'll have dinner with the boss and his mother. His mother. Natalie's stomach clenches. This is really happening. Yeah. Welcome to the family, Miss Brooks. The car that arrives at 6:45 is a black Mercedes with tinted windows. The driver is a young man who introduces himself as Thomas and treats Natalie with unexpected courtesy, opening doors and asking about Maya, as if he genuinely cares. She's with my neighbor tonight, Natalie says, smoothing her dress. It's the nicest thing she owns, a simple navy shift she bought at Goodwill 3 years ago. It feels inadequate for wherever they're going. Mrs. Santoro is excited to meet you, Thomas says. She doesn't get many new people at dinner. Fair warning, she'll probably feed you until you can't move. Is that normal? That's Italian grandmothers, Thomas grins. Don't refuse anything she offers or she'll be offended. They drive through Chicago as the sun sets, heading toward Old Town. The houses get bigger, the streets quieter. They turn onto a tree-lined street where every property is worth millions, and pull up to a wrought iron gate that opens automatically. The Santoro estate is a 4-story brownstone that takes up half a block. There's a private garden. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. A fountain, enough security cameras to make Fort Knox jealous. Lights glow in the windows, warm and inviting, at odds with the obvious wealth and power. Thomas leads her inside, and Natalie's first impression is of old-world elegance. Dark wood, marble floors, artwork that's probably worth more than she'll make in a lifetime. But underneath the luxury, there's something else. Family photos line the hallways. A child's drawing is pinned to a bulletin board in what looks like a mudroom. Fresh flowers sit in a vase on a table, clearly picked from the garden, not ordered from a florist. This isn't just a display of wealth. People live here. Miss Brooks. A woman appears in the hallway, tiny but formidable, with silver hair pulled into an elegant twist and dark eyes that see everything. She's maybe 70, dressed in black slacks and a cream silk blouse, with pearl earrings that are probably real. I'm Francesca Santoro. Welcome to our home. Thank you for inviting me, Mrs. Santoro. Call me Francesca. She takes Natalie's hands, studying her face. You have kind eyes. That's good. My son needs kind people around him. She switches to rapid Italian, speaking to someone Natalie can't see, then back to English. Come. Dinner is almost ready. Dominic is waiting. She leads Natalie through the house to a dining room that could seat 20 but has been set for 3. The table is covered in dishes that smell incredible. Fresh bread, pasta in red sauce, roasted vegetables, chicken that's been braised in wine and herbs. And at the head of the table, standing when Natalie enters, is Dominic Santoro. He's taller than she expected. Well over 6 feet, with broad shoulders and the kind of presence that makes a room feel smaller. His hair is dark, touched with silver at the temples, and his eyes are nearly black. He's handsome in a way that's almost intimidating, all sharp angles and controlled power. He wears a dark suit like it's armor, but he's removed his jacket and rolled up his sleeves, revealing forearms that are muscled and scarred. Miss Brooks. His voice is the same one from the phone, low and textured with that Italian accent. I'm glad you came. I told you I would. People say many things. Following through is rarer. He gestures to a chair. Please sit. My mother has been cooking all day. The meal is extraordinary. Francesca serves course after course, speaking in a mix of English and Italian, asking Natalie questions about Maya, about her life, about her family. It should feel like an interrogation, but somehow it feels like being welcomed. Your daughter is 7? Francesca asks, ladling more pasta onto Natalie's plate despite her protests that she's full. Yes. She'll be 8 in March. Same age as my Dominic when his father brought him to this house for the first time. Just a little boy, but already so serious. So much responsibility on small shoulders. Francesca's expression softens with memory. He needed someone to love him the right way, to teach him that strength doesn't mean cruelty. Mama, Dominic says gently, you're embarrassing me. Good. You should be embarrassed. 40 years old and still no wife, no children. Your father would be ashamed. My father would understand I've been busy running the family business he left me. Business. Francesca waves a hand dismissively. Always business, never life. She turns to Natalie. You'll be good for him. I can see it already. Natalie flushes. I'm just here about the job, Mrs. Santoro. Francesca. And jobs are how all good things begin. My husband hired me to work in his restaurant. Look what happened. She stands, beginning to clear plates. I'll make coffee. You two talk. After she leaves, Dominic refills Natalie's wine glass. I apologize for my mother. She's enthusiastic. She's lovely. Natalie takes a sip of wine. It's probably expensive, though she wouldn't know the difference. Is she always like that? Only when she likes someone, which is rarer than you'd think. Dominic leans back in his chair. So, you said yes? I'm glad. I said yes because I need the job. Let's be clear about that. I'm not here because I approve of what you do or because I think working for a crime family is a good idea. I'm here because my daughter deserves a future, and I can't give her one working for minimum wage. I appreciate the honesty. Dominic's smile is slight. I'd rather have someone who's clear about their motivations than someone who pretends this is anything other than what it is, a transaction. security for service. What exactly would my job entail? Managing household staff for this property and 2 others I own. Coordinating schedules, handling payroll, ensuring everything runs smoothly. You'd also occasionally coordinate events, family dinners, business meetings, things like that. It's legitimate work, Natalie. I'm not asking you to do anything illegal, but I'd be around illegal things. Possibly, I won't lie. My business involves operations that aren't entirely above board. You might overhear conversations. You might meet people who are connected to less savory aspects of my family's interests. But you wouldn't be implicated in anything. Your job is household management, that's all. And if I see something I don't want to see, then you keep it to yourself. That's part of working for my family. Omerta. The code of silence. What you see here, what you hear, it stays here. You never talk to police, never testify, never break the family's confidence. His eyes are serious. Can you live with that? Natalie thinks about it, about all the things she's already learned to live with. Yes, good. Then you start Monday. Marco will help you move your things into the guest house this weekend. It's on the property, separate entrance, complete privacy, fully furnished. But you can change anything you want. He slides a folder across the table. Your contract. Everything we discussed. Salary, benefits, housing. Review it. If you have questions, ask. If you want changes, we'll negotiate. Natalie opens the folder. The contract is professionally typed, comprehensive, exactly what he promised. More than he promised, actually. There's an education stipend for Maya, a retirement account, vacation time. This is generous. I take care of my people. That's not charity, Natalie. It's how family works. You work for me. You're under my protection. And that means I make sure you're taken care of. I'm not family. Not yet. His smile is warmer now. But you will be. That's how it works. You start as an employee. But if you're loyal, if you prove yourself, you become part of something bigger. Part of the Santoro family. The way he says it makes it sound like both a promise and a warning. After dinner, Dominic walks Natalie through the guest house. It's attached to the main brownstone but has its own entrance, its own small garden. Inside, it's beautiful. Hardwood floors, modern kitchen, 2 bedrooms upstairs, a bathroom with a tub big enough for Maya to swim in. This is too much, Natalie whispers. It's what you deserve. Dominic shows her the security system. The property has guards on rotation 24/7. Cameras cover every angle. There's a panic button in every room that connects directly to my security team. You and Maya will be safe here. Why are you doing this? Because I can. Because you need it. Because... He pauses, seeming to choose his words carefully. Because when I saw you in that pharmacy, refusing help even when you were desperate, I saw something I don't see often in my world. Dignity. Strength that doesn't require cruelty. Love that's stronger than pride. I wanted to help then. I want to help now. I'm not a charity case. I know. That's why I'm hiring you, not just giving you money. You're earning this, Natalie. Every dollar, every benefit. And in return, you'll make my life easier. That's a fair exchange. He's standing close enough that Natalie can smell his cologne, something expensive and understated. She should step back, maintain distance, remember that this is her boss, and a crime boss at that. But she doesn't step back. I'll do a good job, she says. You won't regret hiring me. I don't think I will. His eyes are dark, intense, studying her face like he's memorizing it. Welcome to the Santoro family, Natalie Brooks. 3 months later, Natalie has settled into a life she never imagined. The guest house is home now. Maya thrives in her new school, making friends, bringing home artwork covered in A+ stickers. Natalie's job is demanding but manageable. Coordinating staff for 3 properties, planning events, handling the endless logistics of running a crime lord's household. She meets the rest of the Santoro family gradually. Dominic's younger brother, Luca, who runs the construction side of the business. His sister, Gianna, who manages the restaurants. His uncle Sal, who handles waste management and doesn't talk about what that really means. His cousin Tony, who oversees protection services for businesses in Santoro territory. They accept her cautiously at first, this outsider who's suddenly managing their family's homes. But Natalie wins them over with competence and discretion. She never asks questions about the business. Never comments on the meetings that happen in Dominic's study at odd hours. Never mentions the men with guns who sometimes appear at the estate. She just does her job, takes care of Maya, and tries not to notice how often Dominic finds reasons to talk to her. Because he does find reasons. He asks her opinion on art for the guest room. He brings Maya gifts, books, art supplies, a dollhouse that probably costs more than Natalie made in a month at the diner. He joins them for dinner sometimes, sitting at their small table in the guest house, eating Natalie's simple cooking and seeming more relaxed than she ever sees him with anyone else. "You're good for 19, Francesca tells Natalie one Sunday, when the whole family gathers for dinner at the main house. It's a tradition, apparently. Every Sunday, everyone comes home. No excuses. He smiles more, laughs sometimes. He hasn't done that in years. "I'm just his employee," Natalie says. "For now," Francesca pats her hand. "But my son doesn't look at employees the way he looks at you." Natalie knows Francesca is right. She's felt Dominic's eyes on her during dinners, during meetings, during the 1,000 small interactions that make up their days. She's felt the charge in the air when they're alone, the way conversations stretch longer than necessary, the way his hand lingers when he helps her with her coat. She tells herself it's nothing, that he's her boss, that getting involved with Dominic Santoro would be the stupidest thing she's ever done. But her heart doesn't care about smart decisions. 4 months after she started working for Dominic, everything changes. Natalie is in the main house kitchen, coordinating dinner for a business meeting, when Marco appears at her side. "Boss needs you in his study. Now." The urgency in his voice makes Natalie's stomach clench. "What's wrong? Just come." Dominic's study is full of men. Luca, Tony, Sal, and several others Natalie recognizes as enforcers. They're all armed. Dominic stands behind his desk, his expression darker than she's ever seen it. "Close the door," he says when Natalie enters. She does. "What's happening?" "The Moretti family. They're making moves on our territory. Aggressive moves. They hit 3 of our businesses last night. Burned down a restaurant in Little Italy. Put 2 of our guys in the hospital." Dominic's voice is controlled, but fury simmers underneath. "They're sending a message. They want war. I don't understand what this has to do with me. When families go to war, they look for leverage, weaknesses to exploit, people to target." Dominic's eyes meet hers. "I've been seen with you, Natalie, multiple times. Restaurants, parks, public places, where I've spent time with you and Maya. The Morettis aren't stupid. They'll assume you mean something to me." "Do I?" The question hangs in the air. Dominic is quiet for a long moment. Then he crosses to her, and everyone else in the room seems to disappear. "Yes," he says quietly. "You do. You mean something to me, and that makes you a target." Natalie's heart races. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm putting you under 24/7 protection. Marco will be with you whenever you leave the estate. Thomas will shadow Maya. No exceptions. It means you don't go anywhere without clearing it with my security team first. And it means," he reaches out, cupping her face, "it means I need to know if you'll stay, if you'll accept this protection. Because if the Morettis come after you to hurt me, I need to know you're safe." "You're asking if I'll let you protect me. I'm asking if you trust me." His thumb brushes across her cheekbone. "I know this is terrifying. I know you didn't sign up for this. But Natalie, I can't let anything happen to you. I can't let them hurt you or Maya because of me." Natalie should pull away, should quit, take Maya, disappear to somewhere safe. But she looks into Dominic's eyes and sees genuine fear. Not for himself, for her. "I trust you," she whispers. "I'll stay." Relief floods his expression. He pulls her into his arms, and Natalie allows herself to sink into his embrace. He's warm and solid, and for the first time in 7 years, she doesn't feel alone. "I'll keep you safe," Dominic murmurs against her hair. "I promise. Nothing will touch you." From across the room, Luca clears his throat. "Boss, we need to discuss the response." Dominic releases Natalie reluctantly. "Go back to the guest house. Pack a bag for you and Maya. You're moving into the main house until this is resolved. Guest room's on the 3rd floor. Marco will help you." "Dominic, please, I need you where I can protect you properly." His hand finds hers, squeezes. Trust me. She does. That's the terrifying part. That night, with Maya asleep in a bedroom bigger than their old apartment, Natalie stands at the window watching the Santoro estate's security patrol the grounds. She's in a world she doesn't understand, facing dangers she can't predict, protected by a man who kills for a living. And she's falling for him. God help her. She's falling for Dominic Santoro. The war with the Morettis escalates quickly. Over the next 2 weeks, there are 3 more attacks on Santoro businesses. A construction site is sabotaged. A warehouse burns. 2 Santoro soldiers are killed in an ambush in Bridgeport. Dominic responds with controlled fury. Natalie doesn't know the details, doesn't ask, but she sees the results. Moretti businesses close. Their associates disappear. Territory that was disputed becomes unquestionably Santoro. But the violence takes a toll. Dominic comes home late, exhausted, sometimes with blood on his clothes that isn't his. He's distant during the day, focused on the war, but at night he seeks out Natalie. They talk in his study, her presence seeming to calm something in him. I'm tired, he admits one night after a particularly brutal day. Tired of the violence, of always having to prove strength, of people dying because their great-grandfathers made alliances 100 years ago. Then stop, Natalie says. It's not that simple. If I show weakness, if I back down, other families will sense it. They'll push in, and then more people die. He looks at her. Do you think I'm a monster? I think you're a man doing what he thinks he has to do. That doesn't make you a monster, but it doesn't make it right either. Always honest. His smile is tired. That's why I need you, Natalie. Everyone else tells me what I want to hear. You tell me the truth. Would you stop? If you could? I don't know. This life, it's all I've ever known. My father groomed me to take over. I've been preparing for this role since I was a child. He's quiet for a moment. But lately, I've been wondering what it would be like to be someone else. Someone who doesn't have to order deaths before breakfast. You could be, if you wanted. Maybe. He reaches across the space between them, takes her hand. With the right motivation. The touch sends electricity through Natalie. She should pull away, should maintain boundaries. But she's so tired of fighting what she feels. Dominic, I know this is complicated. I know I'm your boss and a criminal and probably the last person you should be involved with. His voice is low, intense. But Natalie, I can't stop thinking about you. About Maya. About the life we could have if I was brave enough to reach for it. What kind of life? The normal kind. The kind where I come home and help with homework. Where we have dinner together and argue about what to watch on TV. Where Maya is safe and loved and you're happy. He stands, moving to kneel in front of her chair. Where I get to be the man I want to be instead of the one I was raised to be. That man doesn't exist while you're running a crime family. Then I'll step back. Luca can take over operations. Gianna handles the restaurants. I'll transition to a consulting role. Legitimate business only. His hands frame her face. I'll do whatever it takes to be worthy of you. You don't have to be worthy. You just have to be yourself. That's what terrifies me. Because myself isn't good enough for someone like you. Natalie kisses him. It's impulse and desire and months of denied attraction finally finding an outlet. Dominic responds immediately, pulling her closer, deepening the kiss with a hunger that steals her breath. When they break apart, they're both breathing hard. This is a terrible idea, Natalie whispers. The worst, Dominic agrees. But I don't care. I want you, Natalie. I want you and Maya in my life. I want to be the reason you smile. I want to give you everything you've been denied. I don't need everything. I just need you to be honest with me. About who you are, what you do, what you want. I want you. That's the truth. The simplest, most complicated truth of my life. He kisses her again, softer this time. Stay with me. Not as an employee, as my partner. Let me love you the way you deserve. Maya comes first, always. I know, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love her too, Natalie. She's brilliant and brave and kind, just like her mother. His smile is gentle. Let me be a father to her. Let me give her the life I never had. The one where she's protected and cherished and never has to be afraid. Natalie thinks about the pharmacy, about standing there desperate and alone, about the stranger who paid for medicine because he could, because he wanted to help, about the man who's been nothing but kind to her daughter, who makes her laugh, who sees them both clearly and chooses them anyway. "Okay," she says. "Yes, let's try this. Let's see what we can build together." Dominic's smile is brilliant. He kisses her again, and Natalie feels something shift. This is real. This is happening. She's choosing this dangerous, complicated, beautiful man. The next morning, Dominic calls a family meeting. The entire Santoro clan gathers in the main house. Siblings, cousins, soldiers, everyone with skin in the game. "The war with the Morettis ends today," Dominic announces. "I'm calling for a sit-down. We'll negotiate territory boundaries, agree to peace terms, and move forward." That's a mistake. Uncle Sal objects. "They started this war. We need to finish it. Eliminate them completely. No, we end this now. Too many people have died. Too much has been lost." Dominic's voice is firm. "And I'm implementing changes to family operations. Effective immediately, we're transitioning away from illegal activities, construction, restaurants, waste management, real estate, all legitimate. We're going clean." The room erupts in protest. Going legitimate means less money, less power, less control. It means abandoning generations of tradition. But Dominic stands firm. "This family started because my great-grandfather wanted to build something that lasted, something he could pass down to his children. But we can't build a lasting legacy on blood and violence. It's time to evolve, time to be more than what we were." "Why now?" Luca asks. "What's changed?" Dominic looks at Natalie, who's standing in the doorway with Maya. "I have something to protect that's more important than power, a future I want more than the past. And I won't risk losing it by staying in a world where every day could be my last." Francesca stands, her voice carrying authority despite her small stature. "Your father would be proud. Not of the violence, but of the courage it takes to change, to choose life over legacy." She looks around the flow. Dominic is right. We've been what we are for long enough. It's time to become what we could be. The transition doesn't happen overnight. The sit-down with the Morettis is tense, requiring hours of negotiation and concessions on both sides. Territory is redistributed. Operations are sold or shuttered. The Santoro family begins the slow process of legitimizing a century of criminal enterprise. But through it all, Dominic has Natalie beside him, not just as his employee, as his partner, the woman he's building a future with. 6 months after the war ends, Dominic takes Natalie and Maya to dinner at a small Italian restaurant in Little Italy. It's quiet, intimate, with photos on the walls showing a century of history. "My great-grandfather opened this place in 1928, Dominic says. "It was his first legitimate business. Everything else came after." "It's beautiful," Natalie says, watching Maya study the photos with interest. "It's yours." Natalie blinks. "What?" "The restaurant. I'm signing it over to you. Your name on the deed, your business to run however you want." Dominic pulls out paperwork. "You've talked about wanting to do something meaningful, about giving back to the community. This could be that. A place where people come together, where food and family matter more than money." "Dominic, I can't accept." "You can. You should." He takes her hand. "Natalie, you've given me so much. You've shown me what it means to live, instead of just survive. You've made me want to be better. Let me give you this. Let me invest in your dream the way you've invested in my future." Tears prick Natalie's eyes. This is too much. It's not enough. It will never be enough. He stands, pulls a small box from his pocket, and drops to one knee right there in his great-grandfather's restaurant. Maya gasps. "Mama, he's proposing." "Yes, he is." Dominic opens the box to reveal a ring. Simple, elegant, perfect. "Natalie Brooks, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband and Maya's father? Will you build a life with me that's better than anything either of us imagined?" Natalie looks at this man who's transformed from a dangerous stranger into someone she loves. Someone who's choosing to change, to grow, to build instead of destroy. Someone who sees her daughter as precious and treats her with kindness. "Yes," she says, pulling him to his feet. "Yes, I'll marry you." He slides the ring onto her finger and kisses her while Maya cheers and the restaurant staff applauds. And Natalie thinks about the pharmacy, about that desperate moment when she had no options and no hope, about the stranger who paid because he could, about the man who's been saving her ever since. They marry 3 months later in the garden of the Santoro estate. It's a small ceremony, just family and close friends. Maya is the flower girl, taking her role very seriously. Francesca cries through the entire ceremony. Luca stands as best man, giving a speech about how Natalie made his brother human again. When Dominic and Natalie exchange vows, they write their own. I promise to protect you, Dominic says, to value you, to never take for granted the gift of your trust. I promise to be a father to Maya, to love her as my own. And I promise to keep choosing to be better, to build a life worth living, because you made me believe it's possible. Natalie's vows are equally honest. I promise to see you clearly, the good and the complicated and everything in between. I promise to be your partner, to challenge you when you need it and support you always. I promise to build this life with you, to trust in what we're creating together. And I promise to never forget the man who paid for medicine when I had nothing, who saw me at my lowest and chose to help. The reception lasts until dawn, filled with food and laughter, and the joy of a family celebrating new beginnings. As the sun rises, Dominic and Natalie slip away to the Trage guest house that was hers and is now theirs. How does it feel? Dominic asks, pulling her close. Being Mrs. Santoro? Terrifying and perfect. Natalie rests her head against his chest. Thank you for not giving up on me. For seeing something worth fighting for. Thank you for saving me. For giving me a reason to be more than I was. He tilts her face up. I love you, Natalie Santoro. I love you too. They kiss as the sun rises over Chicago, over the estate that's now their home, over the life they're building together. 1 year later, Natalie stands in her restaurant officially named Nonna Rosa's after Dominic's grandmother. It's thriving, serving the community, employing people who need second chances. Maya is 9 now, healthy and happy, calling Dominic dad and thriving in her private school. The Santoro family is fully legitimate now. Construction, real estate, restaurants, all clean, all legal. Dominic works regular hours, comes home for dinner, coaches Maya's soccer team. He's still intense, still powerful, but he's also present. Happy. They're expecting their first child together. A boy, due in March. As Natalie locks up the restaurant, she thinks about the pharmacy. About the moment her life changed. About the stranger who became her husband, who gave her everything she needed and more. Carol, the pharmacist, still works at Anderson's. Natalie visits sometimes, bringing pastries from the restaurant. Carol knows who Natalie married, knows what it means. You did good, Carol tells her during one visit. He's a good man. I can see it in the way he treats you. He is. Natalie touches her rounded stomach where their son is growing. The best. That night, Dominic finds Natalie in the nursery they're preparing. Hey, what are you thinking about? About the pharmacy. About how one moment changed everything. That night changed me too. He wraps his arms around her from behind. I saw you fighting for your daughter, refusing to give up, and something in me woke up. Something that had been asleep for years. You reminded me what it means to care about something more than power. I'm glad you were there. Glad you helped. I'm glad you let me. He kisses her temple. I'm glad you took a chance on a man who didn't deserve it but was desperate for redemption. You deserved it. You just needed someone to see it. And you did. You saw past the reputation to the person underneath. You gave me a reason to be better. His hand rests on her stomach. You gave me a family, a future. Everything I'd given up hoping for. Maya appears in the doorway, already in pajamas. Are we doing movie night? Absolutely. Dominic scoops her up, making her giggle. What are we watching? Moana. I want to watch Moana. They settle on the couch together, Dominic, Natalie, Maya, and the baby who will join them soon. They're a family, not the traditional kind. Not the kind Natalie imagined standing in that pharmacy, desperate and alone. But they're real. They're happy. They're choosing each other every day. And that's more than Natalie ever dreamed possible. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. From a stranger in a pharmacy, from a crime boss with a conscience, from choosing to help even when you don't have to, from love that transforms everything. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.